Mark Steyn is an author and columnist, and he joins us tonight. So, Mark, I think the best summary of the argument against this from the federal point of view came out today in The Onion, which quoted an imaginary federal official as saying, and I'm quoting, "If we take away the public's faith in this shadowy monolith, all that's left is an extensive network of rogue, unelected intelligence officers carrying out extrajudicial missions for a variety of subjective and occasionally personal reasons." And we wouldn't want that.
Exactly. And as you noted, the Washington Post has come out against the release of the memo. This is the newspaper that every couple of years Hollywood makes a movie about with Katharine Graham, the late owner, and Ben Bradley, the late editor, said, "Oh, yeah, I'll go to jail. I'll publish this, and I'm prepared to take the risk of going to jail." And Tom Hanks gets all the looks forward to all the Oscar nominations and all the rest of it, and that every actor would kill to play the Washington Post owner who says, "I'm going to go to jail. I'm publishing the memo and I'm willing to go to jail." And then back in the real world, they say, "Oh, no, no, no. You are people out there. You don't need to know this. It could greatly imperil all our shadowy deep state bureaucracies if you were to see this memo." There's a kind of conflict there in the modern democratic.
So democracy dies in darkness, but not in this specific case. Is there, and you've covered a lot of national security stories for decades, I've read them, do you think there are legitimate reasons to withhold this memo from public view?
I don't think so, because we live in leaky times. And so far, we've had an investigation about supposed Russian government interference in the U.S. election, for which there is very minimal evidence. Whereas in the course of the investigation, a lot of evidence has emerged about American government interference in the election, which ought to be a lot more concerning. And we have seen texts, we've seen emails, reports of meetings, phrases that are prima facie suspicious, such as insurance policy, and the idea that the whole thing is one big massive fruit of the poisonous tree being a memo that was paid for by the Democrats with input from the Russians purely for the purpose of enabling the party in government to spy on its political opponents. That's the scandal. That's why the American people are entitled to see the memo.
If this memo were not released, and I think that it will be imminently, but let's say it weren't released and the supporting documents remain cloaked under their classified status, wouldn't that abet the most destructive kind of distrust in government and conspiracy theories and exactly the kind of discourse that really does undermine a country, it seems to me? I mean, sunlight really is needed here.
Well, yes. I mean, you look at it. If you were, say, Vladimir Putin, and you wanted to interfere in America's election, what actually serves your purposes more? Trying to find a candidate who will be your stooge, or actually creating conditions where there is a paralyzed relationship between the permanent bureaucracy and the government and massive mistrust of all government institutions. I mean, in effect, the Russia investigation itself is a huge victory for Putin. And I would say one other thing here, too. I would say one other thing here, too, Tucker. This investigation isn't where it ought to be right now. Mueller is on the back foot. The FBI is on the back foot. And Trump is actually teaching a lesson here. If you look at what happened to the Bush administration during that disgraceful Scooter Libby investigation a few years ago, where Bush took the high road and steered clear of it, and it was immensely damaging to him. Trump, on the other hand, is saying there is a bigger scandal here, and so far that bigger scandal is outpunching the so-called Russia investigation.
So far, that's right, and I think the memo will shine a lot of light on that in either direction. Mark Steyn, thank you for that. That was interesting.